As promised, I'm back with you with another poem of the Lucy series. In the last video, I had asked you, who do you think Lucy is? And we don't know. But we know that she is dead. That's for sure. But what had she been like when she was alive? How has her death affected the poet? What difference has it made? Let's find out in our exploration of the second poem, She Dwelt Among Untrodden Ways. The Lucy poems do not generally have any separate title. The first line of the poem is considered to be the title of the poem. So the poem begins like this: She dwelt among the untrodden ways. Untrodden ways where human beings do not go frequently. To tread means TREAD. It means to walk. And usually in forest areas, you'll find that there are tracks made by people's footfalls if they walk along a particular track a lot of times. Lucy lived in a place where people did not visit often. So it is said that she lived among untrodden ways. So she lived in an isolated spot, away from human society, away from civilization and its negative impact. Beside the springs of Dove. Now, possibly he is referring to River Dove in England, and she lived beside the springs of Dove, means rivulets, small little tributaries coming to this river. A maid. So, a qualification is added here that Lucy is not married. She is a virgin, and that is also a marker of her innocence. A maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love. Usually in love poetry, we see that the figure of the mistress or the beloved is often highlighted as someone who is glorified and praised a lot. But the speciality about Lucy is that she is so much away from the common eye that not many people have even seen Lucy. So nobody has praised her. She is unappreciated, unrecognized, uncelebrated. But then that is the main point of Wordsworth. He always insisted that beautiful objects of nature, things that are really of value, they are not dependent on human praise. It's like a rose is as important to Wordsworth as a violet that grows like a wild flower and nobody notices. So the worth or the importance of anything in nature has nothing to do with how much any human being notices it or praises it. So Lucy is more than, or rather beyond, the necessity of human appreciation. A violet by a mossy stone. Look at the images that are used here to compare Lucy's beauty to. He is saying that Lucy is like a violet by a mossy stone. So, violet is a very pretty looking flower, but it is not highlighted by poets like Rose is. Okay, so a violet is a flower which grows and dies without any human beings noticing it even at times. So this image of a violet by a mossy stone, this kind of reminds me of Gray's elegy and the lines where he says, "Full many a flower is born to blush unseen." In nature, everything is part of a larger design. Human appreciation is such a vain little thing. It doesn't really matter at the end. A violet by a mossy stone half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. Now, again, a contradiction is here. On one hand, he is saying that Lucy is like a violet, which is unnoticed. And the next moment, he is saying that Lucy is like a star, which is like the one star in the sky. So, obviously, everybody will notice her. This means that she is unnoticed just because human beings do not reach her, do not have the capacity to reach the place she is living in. If they had that capacity, then everybody would know how bright and shining she is, like that star. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be. The way he's saying ceased to be, it's like death is like a pause. It's not like a finality in that sense. It's like a moment when you stop being something and become something else. So she ceased to be means she died. So just like her life, her death was also unnoticed. But she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me. So maybe the whole world is unaware of Lucy. But this poet, this speaker, to him, Lucy's absence is felt deeply. And it's as if he's trying to say that maybe the whole world didn't know about her. But I knew her and I loved her so much that it doesn't matter if anybody knew her or not. Her death still leaves a scar, and it leaves on me. So this poem is far more personal than the first one we read, although both of these are about the death of Lucy. And in this poem, we do get a glimpse of Lucy's life, what she was like, the kind of setting in which she was growing up, and we have some idea about what kind of person she must have been. But this poem is also about how her death has affected the poet. Wordsworth continues playing with grammar because he is again shifting from past tense to present tense. See, she is in her grave. So that is a finality, that is something which is not going to end ever. So it is present continuous kind of thing. Her life had been transient, past. Her death is present reality. And in this poem, he creates in us a sense of curiosity as to what Lucy was really like. Because if she was like a violet, then she was humble, hidden. And if she was like the star, then she must have been distinctive. And this growing curiosity about Lucy's identity, at least about the relationship between the poet and Lucy, all these things will be growing even further when we go to the third poem of the series in our next video. Strange fits of passion have I known. So don't go anywhere, because we still have to find out, right, who Lucy is and what kind of passion is Wordsworth going to talk about. Wordsworth, passion? We always thought he was a stoic, serious kind of a person. Let's find out in the next video, right? So I'll see you all soon, very soon. Stay subscribed. Bye bye.